Okay, welcome everyone. As we are dedicated by A.B. Spry for the safety of the Chayalim and the special Zechus for Zev Ben Yuta. We're dedicated by Shimon Klein, Ilai Nishmas Hashem Anshel Ben Yehuda, and Gittel Bas Shimon Pinchas by Irving Fishbaum for his continued Gesund Issa Ben Rezel. We learned from my Shver Avigdor Ben Rivka, my Enikel Ayelad Ben Chava, and Meir Ben Chayasar. They should all have a refuah shalema b'seich shar chayla Yisrael. We welcome in Irving Fishbaum, who I just saw earlier, and also Bruce Eisenberg, Stephen Holtzman, Eddie Chazan, Shimon Deer, and his new little one, Baruch Ian, A.B. Spry, Aaron Swade, Shimon Klein, Menachem Yamansky, Ilya Shutman, Yeshua Shmuel Eisenberg, a father-son team, Avram Allen Weissman, Sandy Grunfeld, who I missed in Shul. I didn't get a chance to see, too bad. Naftali Javelin joining us here in Shul. We have Saba, we have Rich Leonard, we have Reb Herbst, we have Berish Gesman, Reb Krause, and Gedalia Engel, who is somewhere in the back, and David Helfgott on Kololashin. We are holding two lines from the bottom of Daf Tez Zayin Amud Beis, two lines from the bottom of Daf Tez Zayin Amud Beis, a little agarita in store. They gave great honor to Chizkiyahu in his death. This was, remember they said that he did a lot to bring back Torah Liyoshna, and they were Batku Midonvad on Tifras, and they couldn't find anybody who didn't know the laws of Tumah V'Tara. So they Malamed Yeshiva al Kivroi. They put a actually yeshiva learning alongside his kever. Now, for how long? So there's a three-way machlokes. Pligi bar Rab Nasim Rabbanan, Chadam Shleisha. One said for 3 days, connected the Shleishim Yom Shalbachi, V'chadam Shiva. One says connected the 7 days of mourning. The Imril, another say Shleishim for the entire Shleishim. Tan Rabbanan, as we welcome in Michael, it's good to have you. Top line of Daf Yud Zayin Amud Aleph as we're getting ready to finish the first parak of Bava Kama. Tan Rabbanan v'kavod asalei b'maisei. They gave him honor in his death. Zeh Chizkiya Melech Yehuda sheyatzel lefanav shloishim v'shisha elef chalutzei kasef. There walked before him as an honor guard 36,000 people with their shoulders bare. The idea of the shoulders bare is to show that they're all ready to carry the coffin on their bare shoulders. Divrei Rabbi Yehuda. Amalei Reb Nechemia says that's not something special. They did this for Aloi Lefnei Achav Osikein. They did this for Achav, and Achav was a Rasha. Ela Shanichai Sefer Torah al Mitasai. They put a Sefer Torah on his coffin. The Amru Kayim Zeh Mashikasa Bezeh. As they said by Yosef HaTzadik when he walked alongside, when his Aron was alongside the Aron Hashem, here they put a Sefer Torah on the Aron, and they said, Kayim Zeh, this one upheld, Ma'asher Kosev Bezeh. Says Gemara, Va'idna Nami Avdina Nachi. Today we also do this. Says Gemara, Apuke Mapkinon, we take out a Sefer Torah. But Anuche Loy Manechinon, we don't put it on the Aron. Viba Yisema, even if Anuche Nami Manchinom, even if for spectacular people, we put it on the Aron, but Kayim Loy Amrina, but we don't say, Kayim Zeh Ma'asher Kosev Bezeh. Amar Rabba Babachana, Zilna Bahadei de Rabbi Yochanan L'Mishel Shmaitza. I was following together with Rabbi Yochanan to ask him about this sugya. Ki avi ayel b'eisa kisa. When he went into the bathroom, v'ava ba'ina minei milsa, and after he came out, we asked him something. Like Pashitlan, he wouldn't answer adamashi yadei until he washed his hands. Umanach tefillin, and he put back on his tefillin. And umavarech, and he would make another bracha because he was a half sick mistama. It was gedalim, and therefore he made a new bracha. V'hader amalan, and then he answered us. It could be that afilu kayem amrinan. It could be that they even say nowadays that Kayim Zeh Mashikosu B'Zeh. But Limei Lo Yamrinan. But it doesn't say, they didn't say that he taught Mashikosu B'Zeh. Now that, at first the Gemara thought it meant that he learned, which would imply that learning is greater than action. But V'amar Gadol Limad Torah, why? Shalimad Mevi L'Dei Ma'isa. So you see the Ma'isa is bigger. It's only learning is big because it brings to Ma'isa. So you see Ma'isa is bigger. So how could you say that learning is greater than Kaying? Says the Gemara, no. It says Limei, to teach. Like Kash Ola Mingmar Ola Agmure. To learn, Kayim is greater. To teach, that's the greatest of them all. That enables a lot of people to do the mitzvahs. Am Rabbi Yochanan, Mishum Rab Shimon ben Yochai. Rabbi Yochanan says, as we welcome in Harrison Kletzel, it's good to have you. Am Rabbi Yochanan, Mishum Rab Shimon ben Yochai, Mai dichsiv ashreichem zorei al kol mayim. Fortunate is he who plants by all waters. Now we're going to see that this pasuk is expounded to refer to chesed and Torah. Because Zoyrei is tzedakah, because Zriya is tzedakah. When you give tzedakah, you're planting a harvest for the future. Pesach Zigelman, it's wonderful to have you. Although we have to say that we miss you over here in Shul, and we hope you can join us whenever possible. Rachel Lehman has just joined us. Shelley has made an appearance. The slow arrivals tonight. What is this, Sunday night? Is there a football game on or something? Is there?
Of course.
There is, yeah, there is. Okay, so people get extra credit. That's football. That's that oval thing, right? Where they hit each other like a bunch of Michigayim.
As long as they're doing it to themselves, not to us.
And all millionaires too.
Now, so anyway, listen. It's one of the parava distractions. If a person has to have a distraction, football, baseball, hockey, it's all good. But it's better to play it than to watch it. Fortunate are those that plant by all waters, sending out the feet of oxen and donkeys. So now we're going to homiletically interpret this pasuk as follows, as we welcome in Avram Schenkman. People are arriving very late tonight. Avram, it's great to have you. Again, I will tell you, Avram, we miss you over here. We need your presence. Whoever does Torah and kindness, he merits to inherit the heritage of two tribes. Shenemar, Ashreichem Zorei, so Zorei, planting, planting refers to charity. Shenemar, Ziru Lachem Litzedakah, you should sow for charity. V'kotzu, and you'll harvest Lefi Chesed, according to the kindness that is involved in your charity. There's all kinds of levels of charity. A person could give charity b'panim zayafais. A person could give charity making the people feel embarrassed. Remember, I told you that Gimel Dalid stands for Goimel Dalid. Why is the Gimel, the foot of the Gimel, extended to the Dalid? So that a person should offer it before the person is embarrassed to ask for it. You know, you see in shul somebody coming and walking around. If you could offer him the dollar before he has to ask, then you're extending yourself to him. And why is the Dalid turned away from the Gimel? that you shouldn't embarrass the poor person. So there's all kinds of levels of kindness. It says that if a person gives tzedakah, he's mizbarech b'sheish brachas. But if he says words of appeasement, he's mizbarech with another 11 brachas. So that's a fi chased. According to the kindness, that's how much you harvest. And water is Torah shenema hoikol tzamei, all those that are thirsty, l'chul hamayim. This calls for the thirst of knowledge. Of course, as the Chavetz Chaim says, that the Rabbeinu Shalom made us curious. Small people are curious to hear the latest gossip. Big people are curious to learn Torah. Right? So let all those that are thirsty, all those that are curious, let them go to water. Let them go to the Torah. You know, Torah is compared to water, just like water comes from heaven, so also Torah comes from heaven. Just like water causes growth, so does Torah cause growth. Just like water quenches the thirst of the body, Torah quenches the thirst of the soul. And just like water flows from high to low, so does the Torah found by the humble. Huzaru b'mdei aniyim shemimenu teitzei Torah. So what does it say? So then it says shar v'chamor. Those are v'zeichel nachalas shnei shvatim, and he merits having the inheritance of the two tribes. Zeichel kila ki Yosef. He gets the canopy, the chuppah, like Yosef. D'chsev ben Poras Yosef, a charming son is Yosef. Banos tzad alei shor. The daughters climb over the wall to catch a glimpse of him. So he was crowned. Kila is a crown. He was crowned with grace. So a person will be crowned with grace. V'zeichel anachlas Yisachar. What's that? D'chsev Yisachar chamor gomram. Yisachar is a bony donkey. And the Targum, Rashi brings down over here from the Targum, Metagmana Oser Benichsen, wealthy with property. So therefore, he'll be Zeicher to have wealth of property. Istam, right? Others say a different lesson from Yosef and Yisachar. Oiv of Neiflin Lefanav, his enemies will fall from before him. Ki Yosef, like it says by Yosef, the Sibahem, with the horns, Amim Yanagach Yachtov, he will gore nations together, Afse Arts until the end of the earth, V'zeichel Abina Ki Yisachar, and he'll merit having understanding like Yisachar, like it says of V'nei Yisachar, and the children of Yisachar, Yodei Bina Le'itim, they understand the times, L'das Ma Yasi Yisrael, to know what Yisrael should do. Some explain that Yoynei Bino Le'itim is that the Bnei Yisachar knew the complicated way to be Ma'abed the Shana, the intercalation of the year. Others say Yodei Bina is Yodei Bina Le'itim means they understand how to use time. That's a big thing. Like I told you, it says in the pasuk Limnos Yameinu Kein Hoida. If you know how to count your days, v'navi levav chachma. What's right? If you know how to count your days, it's not so hard. Everybody knows the birthday. What does it mean that they know how to count their days? So Rebbe Irving Bunim says a beautiful pshat. He says that you never see on the highway a sign that says that you traveled this amount of miles. It says how many miles there is to Binghamton, how many miles there is to Toronto. So he says a person knows how to count his names. Years means how many years do I have left? Ooh, how many years do I have left? And he says that's why it says Yinamnois Yamenu Cain, because Cain has become after you're 70. Right? The person says in fear ways, if you say how many years you have left to 70, yikes, that's very scary, right? Somebody's time's up, time's up. You know, so of course 70 now is the new 40. You know, but that's besides the point. But 1 second. So the idea is, if a person thinks about it, then he knows how to use time. He knows how to use his time. That's why Shavuos Shavuos, the holiday of Torah, is Shaboy Eis. In it is time, because that's what's time for. Time's for learning Torah. If people would know how precious it is to come and sit and learn the daf in the night, we would have to put up an easy pass in front of the door. There wouldn't be room. There's no question about it. But you have to be Yodei Bina Leitim. You have to understand the value of time. Yes?
Is it possible that the reason why the Gemara darshan this pasuk Ashrechem Zarei Al Kol Mayim is because it has Mashlachei Regel Ashar B'Chamar, which is what we darshan for Regel earlier in the parak? Or is that really a coincidence?
I think the reason is because it's we probably mentioned Reb Yochim Mishim Reb Shim ben Yochai. Did we? Yeah, it's probably because there was an agarita that we were walking along Reb Yochanan. That's probably the reason. Hanulach arba avos, hanulach arba avos, hadrin alach arba avos. And Rabbi Kranz just made it in time for the new parak. I guess Rabbi Kranz said, I need the beef. You know, where's the beef? The guy at the Gemara, he doesn't need to come. You missed a lot of good Gemara, Rabbi Kranz, but it's okay. Like my motto is over here, come even for the last minute, as we welcome in Yehuda Tov that's joining us. Now, second parak starts discussing the av of regel. Remember, regel is when the animal damages in the course of its normal behavior. It damages while it's walking, it damages while it brushes against the wall. Ketzad a regel muedes. How is regel a mued that it pays an ezek shalom in the Rishus HaNizik? L'shaber b'derech hilucha, when it breaks things while it's walking. Ha-behema muedes. Now the Gemara is going to explain that this is the tolda of regel. When it damages with its feet, that's the av of the regel. But habehema, the rest of the animal, that's a tolda of regel, muedes l'halach kadar kol shaber, to go in its normal way and break things. For example, now, if you remember, there's also a something called tzroirus. When the pebbles shoot out from it, it's secondary damage. That's a chatzi nezek, which is mamayin from a halacha l'maish misinai. So now the Mishnah contrasts two types of chatzi nezek. Hoisem of ha'etes, if it kicks. Now, if it kicks, that's a chatzi nezek because it's keren. And of course, over there, remember, you're chayiv even the Rishus Harabim because it's meshuna. So hoisem of ha'etes, if it kicks, so if it's a tam, it pays a chatzi nezek. Or if it's walking merrily along its way, shahayu tzroirus menatzim mitachas reglea, and pebbles shoot out from under its feet, v'shibra es hakelim, and it breaks a window or breaks somebody's glass, mishalim chatzi nezek, because that's tzroirus which pays a chatzi nezek. Dors ala keli v'shavrasai. If the animal steps on a glass, breaks it, and then v'nofel al keli, and a shard from that glass shoots out, v'shibrai, and breaks another keli, so ala rishon on the first glass, mishalem nezek shalom, because that's regel. V'ala achron, the second glass, that's tzroirus, mishalem chatzi nezek. Hatarnagolim, chicken, mu'adan la'alech kedarkon, they're a mu'ad also to walk merrily on their way, u'leshaber. Hoya delil kosher baraglav. Now that's not deli, it's delil. Delil is anything that's tied to its foot. Let's say a ribbon is tied to its foot. A lace is tied to its foot. And it was walking, and the lace flew off its foot, and flew into a window. Oishe Mahades, or it was prancing around, or Meshaber Esakelim, and pebbles shoot out. It's a little bit of Iker Chosim in our Sefer, but that's what Rashi says. And pebbles shoot out to Meshaber Esakelim and breaks a window. So again, that's Sroiris, we're Mishalim Chatzi Nezek. Well, already turning the page, I'm telling you, we're getting spoiled over here. 20 minutes and we're already on Ahmed Bays. You know, Dr. Block says, what am I going to tell my wife? I'm going to be home too early. Don't worry, Dr. Block. There's a chok tonight, so don't worry. You won't be early. Hopefully, I'll have the strength for a chok after the very long Mishnah Yomis. Very long Mishnah Yomis. Yeah, that's your Kodesh. That's correct. It's very good.
Right.
Yes.
But is Saurus the same as, when people have Saurus? That's the same?
No. You're mixing up Tsaurus and Sroiris. Sroiris has two races. Tsaurus has only one race.
Okay, I got you.
Now,
Thank you.
although for the window, the Tsaurus is Tsaurus. Now, Amalei Ravina L'Rava, Ravina says to Rava, Hainu Regel, Hainu Behema. It says first in the Mishnah, Regel, the foot, and then it says when the animal does damage. Well, as far as I know, the foot is part of the animal. So why is that two stanzas? Amalei, so the Gemara explains, Tana Avos V'Ketani told us. It says the principle. The principle is where it does actual damage with the foot. The tolda, the derivative, is where it does a damage with the saddle on its back or brushing against the wall with its side. That's a tolda. Elamiata Sefer Diktani. In the Sefer where it says Hashein Muedes, the tooth, the av of tooth is when it eats, and Abeima Muedes, and there it also says when it eats. So there both are eating. So why does it repeat Shein and Beima? My obviously my told the Zika. So he told him in a jest. He said, look, he told him in jest, he answered in jest and said to him, I answered one question, now you answer this question. So Taka the Gemara says, in the next Mishnah where it says, Shein Moedes Lechol, and then it repeats, Behema Moedes Lechol, what Avin told are there? It's both talking about eating. Amar Rav Ashi, Tana Shein de Chaya, the Ketani Shein de Behema. It talks about where a beast eats, and it talks about where an animal eats. Because in the Lashon of the Pasuk, it says, V'shilach es be'iro, u'bi'er b'steyacha. Bi'er b'steyacha is Shein, and the Pasuk says be'iroi, which is an animal, a behema. So kedai t'chamina v'shilach es be'iroi k'seh behema in Chaya Loi, Kamash Mulan, the Chaya B'chlal Behem. Oh, but says the Gemara, if that's so, then it should say Behema first, since that's the Ikar Pasuk of Shilach as Be'iro. And then it should say Shein, which is Marba Achaya, as we welcome in Abe Arbach for our 26th Zoomer of the evening. So the Gemara says, you're right, except we have a law that which we darshan from a drasha is sweeter. And therefore, since we learned chaya from a drasha, of chaya b'chlal behema, we say chaya first. Hai da asyale midrasha chavivale. So the Gemara says, Ihachi reisha nami. In the reisha, we said regel is the av, and behema is the tolda. Now, the av is beferish in the pasuk, because v'shilach es be'iroi shilach is Mishalche Regel Ashar V'Chamar, and Tolda is a derivative, is a drasha, so it should start off with the Tolda first. Iachi Reisha Nami Listen Ha'id Deloik Siva Bereisha. So the Gemara says, no. Hachi Ashta. Can't compare the two. Hasam Aidi V'Aidi Avasninu. Both Behem and Chaya are obvious in eating, because both are included in eating. So hach the asya le midrasha, that which we learn out from midrasha, chavivale. Hacha, but over here, regel is the av. and Behem is the Tolda, Shavik Av, Tani Tolda, should we forsake the Av and teach the Tolda? Or Iba Yasema, another answer, ID the Sulik Meregel, since in the first parak we ended off speaking about Regel, so Pasuk Meregel, that's why it says, starts the Mishnah with Ketzah the Regel Muedes. Tan Rabbana. I better slow down. Rich is getting nervous. The computer doesn't turn the pages so fast. Some people say they don't even have time to fall asleep. Come on. Now, I know, Nachman. Nobody would dare fall asleep here. I know. The computer rings when somebody falls asleep. By the way, on YouTube, I put last night on YouTube the first Hanukkah shir. So I'm breaking in Hanukkah. I put on the first Hanukkah shir on YouTube. Barish alerted me to the fact that those that are counting Asiri B'Kodesh, remember I introduced the idea of Asiri B'Kodesh counting every 10th day from the day after Yom Kippur and making it special. So Monday is the next Asiri B'Kodesh. So it's a good day to make special. Tan Rabbanan. Behema muedes lala kedar kol l'shaber. A behema is a mued and pays an ezik shalom when it in its normal course of walking it does damage. Ketzat. Behema shenichnas l'chatzar anizik, if the animal goes into Aaron's property, the ezika begufa derech hilucha, and it damaged with its body, brushing against his wall, or besara derech hilucha, or in it, brushing along it and grabbing a keli with its hair and breaking it, b'ukav shela, with the saddle on it, ubeshliv shela, with its saddle pack that holds the bags, or b'prum yeshabafia, or the bit in its mouth, or b'zug shebetzabara, or the bell around his neck, v'chamor b'masai, or the donkey with its load, mishalom nezek shalom. Tzumchis Aimer, now Tzumchis disagrees. He says it's a not halach l'Moshe Sinai. He says tzrairis is also a nezek shalom. So Tzumchis Aimer, tzrairis, pebbles that shoot out from under its hooves, the chazir shoyenoiver ba'ashpa, and a swine that's rummaging in a dump, and with its snout it knocks something out and it hits something and breaks it, the hizik mishalom nezik shalom. So the Gemara thinks that hizik means it damages something with its snout. Hizik pshita. Ela hit is behizik. If it flies out and it damages something, mishalom nezik shalom. So the Gemara says, why is Simchas talking about tzrairis? The Tana Kama didn't say anything about tzrairis. Tzrairis mandakar shemayu. Who mentioned anything about tzrairis? Says the Gemara, you're right. Chesurei mechsura. There's something missing over here. V'achi ketani tzrairis kiyur chayu. Tzrairis that kick up while he's walking at chatzi nezik. The chazir shoya noiver ba'ashpa, that's rummaging in the dump. The hit is the hizik, and something shoots out and breaks the window. Misham chatzi nezik. Tzumchas disagrees. Tzumchas aimer tzrairis pebbles. The chazir shoya noiver ba'ashpa, and a chazir that's rummaging in the dump. The hit is the hizik, and something shoots out and breaks something. Misham nezik shalom. So Tzumchas argues on the din of tzrairis. Now the Gemara declares an interesting thing. Tana Rabbanan. Tana Goyim show you mafrichim memakom lemakom. First we're going to learn some rules. And Tana go, a chicken that was flying from one place to another place, v'shivru kelim b'kanfeim, and broke utensils with their wings, So that's like its feet. Mishal Nezek Shalom. Beruach shebekanfeim. But if the wind caused by its wings breaks a window, it's a strong force, and it breaks a window, Mishal Chatzi Nezek, because like Tzroiris, it's generated by the force of the animal, and that's a Chatzi Nezek. Sumchas is consistent with his opinion that Tzroiris is a Nezek Shalom, so Sumchas Zaymer Nezek Shalom. First white line on Daf Yud Zayin Amid Beis. As we learn to be Mekayim the mitzvah, Debar Tabam Lasis Nachas Ruach Liyotzreinu. Tanidach, Tarnigolim, chicken, Sheyemahatzin al Gabe Isa, that were hopping on top of a dough, or of al Gabe Paris, or on top of fruit, Vitinfu, and they dirtied the dough, or nikru, or perforated it, Mashal Nezek Shalom, that's direct damage. Helu offeroid tzroiris, however, if they kicked up earth or pebbles and did damage, Mishal Chatzi Nezek, Sumcha Zaymer, there too, it's a Nezek Shalom. Says the Gemara, it reminds me of an interesting thing that I had. I was in Boston for a speaking circuit. Shelley, do you remember when we went to Boston? Shelley there? He's there, but he's not on his chair. Okay. I went to Boston for a speaking circuit, and I had a women's shir in Newton. And the lady of the house prepared a beautiful spread. Beautiful spread. I'm telling you, salmon salad, whitefish salad, beautiful Israeli salads, lox. It was a beautiful spread. And it was a huge turnout. Before she came into the room, her house cat jumped on the table and walked over all the plates. And then she came in, and nobody took any food. And she was mortified. She said, why? She said, ladies, please eat. I prepared such a spread. And nobody wanted to say, because they knew she would say, it's a cat, it's a clean cat. I'll never forget it. So here, that's what you have over here. You know, the chicken is hopping on the dough. You know? Tanya a chicken that's fluttering from one place to another, the yotza ruach mitachas knafov, and wind comes from the force of the flapping of its wings, v'shibra esakelim, so that's its force, mishalim chatzi nezek. So it's the Gemara, stomach rabbanon. So that's like the rabbanon that hold that koicha is a chatzi nezek. So Amar Rava. So Rava asks, Bishleimus sumchis. I could understand sumchis that he says it's a nezek shalom. Kasavar koichai kagufay dami. Its force is like the animal itself. El Rabbanan, but according to the Rabbanan, ikagufay dami. If it's like the body itself, so it should be a nezek shalom. Kulei nezek b'oil shalom. V'ilav kagufay dami, and if it's not like the body, you shouldn't pay at all. Chatzi nezek nami loy shalom. Hadam Rava, no. Loilam kagufay dami. Its force is like itself, but its force is secondary damage, and secondary damage is halacha l'meishmi Sinai. That's a chatzi nezek. The chatzi nezek tzroiris hilchas gemirula. Okay, wisely you didn't ask me in the middle of my breath, but what did you want to ask, Aaron?
Rabbi, the wind from the chicken's wings is half damage.
Correct.
But the wind from the snout of the ox is full damage? What's the difference?
No, the damage of the snout is full damage.
Right, but the chicken's wing is half damage.
No, the wing itself is full damage.
The wind from the wing.
Again, the wing itself is full damage, and the snout itself is full damage.
Right, but the wind from the chicken.
And the wind from the snout is also half.
Oh, I thought it was full. Okay.
I don't know how you thought that. We never said that.
When you were talking about the snout, we didn't say it was full damage? The ox's snout?
The swine snout, when it breaks something with its snout, not the wind of the snout.
Ah, okay, that's what I was reading.
Now,
He made the hog man fly with the snout. If he made, okay, I see, Rabbi.
thank you. Amarava. Now, let me give you a little bit of a preface about a zav. A zav, there's tumas medris and there's tumas heset. Tumas medris is when a zav either sits or lies upon something. That is metame, even if the zav did not come into actual contact with the item. So, for example, if the zav sits on top of 10 mattresses, the bottom mattress is tamei because of medras. The same thing is true at Hesed. If a zav moves something, even though he's moving 10 shirts, the last shirt of the 10 shirts is also tamei. That's the din of Hesed. And by the way, there's a very big question. And this is a Chanukah question, because I know everybody is getting in the mood. I think Baruch Ian already ordered sufganiyot. Baruch, you ordered sufganiyot for Matzah Shabbos?
No, somebody send it to me.
Sending. I figured one or the other. Yeah.
2 Wall Street, fairway.
Oh, okay. Okay. Are you going to be here for Hanukkah?
That could be surprised.
Oh, okay. I'll be very surprised. But make sure to be here. Everybody, I'll be very surprised. Okay, I'll be very surprised.
Anticipation.
Yeah. Well, he wasn't here. He didn't hear it. But anyway, so there is a strong opinion that clay cheres, although it's not metame from the outside, only from the inside, but it's metame behesed. And therefore the Chassam Sofer says, what did it help that the pach that was sealed with the seal of the Kohen Gadol, what did it help? It should become tamei with hesed because a guy has the tumah of a zav. Very big question. Chassam Sofer gives a pelagic answer. Chassam Sofer says that the pach was not only sealed with the seal of the Kohen Gadol, but it was riveted to something with the seal, so that it couldn't be moved. That's the way the Chassam Sofer learns. It's really interesting Chassam Sofer. So, okay, for some people that might be the first vort of Chanukah for Tavshin Pei Dalet. Get ready, Rabbi, say it's a very festive time. Very festive time. I want you to know, Baruch, that some people say that once you hear the first Chanukah vort, you could already have a sufganiyot.
That's not surprising.
But anyway, Berish says that also goes into the cheshbon of Asiri B'Kodesh. Anyway, so now the Gemara uses Zav and applies it to our Gemara. It's very unusual. Amar Rava kol shebezav tamei, anything whereby a zav is tamei, that means even if it doesn't directly touch the item. B'nizakin mishalem nezek shalom. By nizakin you pay full damages. So that means if the animal, its pressure is directly on the item, even though he's stepping on 3 kalim and the bottom one breaks, but it's directly attached, so you pay a nezek shalom. Kol sheb'zav tar, if the zav throws something at the shirts don't become tamei. So b'nizak and mishalem chatzi nezek, then that's force, and you only pay a chatzi nezek. Says Gemara v'Rava tzrayis asalash minan. Is Rava coming to tell us tzrayis? What a unusual way to tell me the din of tzrayis by schlepping in zav. Says Gemara, no, Rava very ingeniously is telling you an interesting halacha. That an animal that's pulling a wagon, and the wagon goes over a keli and breaks the keli, it's nezek shalom. Now we would think, since the animal is not directly attached to the wagon, there's a rope and then the wagon, we might think it's secondary. Kamash Malon, just like if a zav would be pulling a wagon and it goes over something, it would be tamei. So here it's a nezek shalom. Let's see it inside. Rava egla meishchus b'kroin kamash malon, where a calf is pulling a wagon. And Tani Kavase de Rava, we have a raya like Rava. Behema moedes, a behema is a muad to pay a nezek shalom, l'shaber b'derech hilucha, to break things along the course of its behavior. Keitzad behema shenichlas al-chatzar nizik, the animal goes into Dr. Black's property, be'ezika, and it damages begufa, with its body, derech hilucha, while it's brushing against the wall, or b'sara derech hilucha, he grabs a keli by its hair, bukav shaleh, with the saddle on its back, b'shlif shaleh, the saddle pack, b'prumya shebefia, the bit in its mouth, b'zuk shebetzavara, the beller on its neck, v'chamor b'masaya, a donkey with its load, v'egla moishchus b'krain, or a heifer pulling a wagon, mishalem nezek shalom. Tan Rabbanan, Tan Geilim, show you how you mechatet it. This is such an interesting shayla here. Tan Rabbanan. See, even though we had a real head start, we're still not finished the daf. It keeps on going. As we welcome in, this is not just Richard Rosenzweig, this is Richard A. Rosenzweig, Esquire. You could come on daf, and we'll call you Dr. Rabbi Lord. Missing a lot of people tonight. Marshall is not here. Shelley, you were out for a moment. I told over a story from Boston. Do you remember how long ago it was when we went to Boston together?
20 years at least.
More than 20, I think.
Yeah,
More than 20.
I totally remember.
Do you remember the time we went to Newton and the woman put out a spread and the cat jumped on the table?
No,
You don't remember that?
I don't remember that.
Yeah, you don't remember. It could be because Shelley didn't come to the woman's share. It's a very sneeze.
That would be it.
Very sneeze sticker fellow, Shelley.
Cancer, I don't remember it.
But you remember the trip? Were you there? Were you there when I?
An extra day because the weather was so bad. Isn't that right?
Yeah. Remember they called me back to speak in Maimonides the last minute. You don't remember the whole thing.
No.
And do you remember me speaking by the Rebbe?
Yes.
Yeah. He's not alive already. Many years.
The room that has the sukkah.
Yes. Tan Rabbanan. Here is a very interesting question. Tarnigoylim shahoyu mechatetin bechevel dli. Here, Shelley has a chicken that was pecking on the rope of Rabbi Kranz's bucket. V'nifsek hachevel, and the rope split, the bucket fell, v'nishper adli, and the bucket broke, mishal min nezik shalom. Now, why should that be? I mean, he pecked the rope, and then the bucket broke. That's secondary. It should be chatzi nezik. So now the Gemara is going to take us on a little trip. Boy Rava, Darsa al Keli. Shelley's chicken steps on Rabbi Kranz's china. Beloy shivrasai, and it doesn't break. It flies up into the air. Then vinis galgal makaracha, it rolls and vinishbar, and when it finally lands, then it breaks. Mao. Do we go basamei karazlina? Do we go according to the beginning when it stepped on the keli? Vigufehu, because maybe we look at it all as one act, and the beginning of the act was direct. When it broke already, it was a secondary result. And it should be a chatzi nezik. So it says the Gemara, Tiv Shalei Midarabba. Let's resolve it from the din of Rabbah. Dama Rabbah Zora Keli Meroisha Gag. If you throw a utensil from the top of the roof, or ba'acha v'shivra. So what happened over here is Bruce threw my china off the roof. What a guy. What a guy. What's gotten into you, Bruce? He throws my china, it's because you don't come enough. He throws my china off the roof, but what happens is Irving takes a bat, and as it's on the way down, he smashes the china. Ba'acha v'shivroi b'makal, potter. Irving is potter. Why? He broke a broken keli. That was going down, and Bruce threw it off the 10th floor. That was going to break on the way down. So when on at the 5th floor window, Irving slugged it, it was already a goner. Says in Gemara, so you see, we go bust the beginning. Says the Gemara, you're right. L'Rabba pshitale, according to Rabba it's pashut, but l'Rava mebayile, according to Rabba he's not sure. Tajma, hidus ain't a muad. If it haps, it's not a muad. V'yesh aymer marizeh muad. Says hidus salkadai. If it haps and breaks something, that's definitely a muad. That's normal. It's normal. El lav hidus, it must be our case. Hidus v'hitis, where he hops, it flies up, and then it breaks somewhere else. Or ma'asava basa me kar azlinon, or ma'asava basa taver mana azlin. We go basa when it breaks. Says Gemara, it must be talking about where it hops. He hops on something and flies out and breaks a window. Or he pebbles shoot out, or beplukta the sumchas rabbanan kamifli. So now the Gemara says, but we'll bring a proof from the question, from the case of Shelley, his chicken pecking at the rope that's attached to Rabbi Kranz's bucket. Tajma, Tarnagoylin, Shayi Mechatan Bechevel Dali, a chicken is pecking at the rope of the bucket, V'nifsa Kachevel, and the rope splits, V'nishparad Li, Mishalman Nezik Shalom. So you see, why you pay Nezik Shalom? Must be you go bust at the beginning. Shmami na bust make karazlina. Says the Gemara, no. We're talking about paying Rabbi Kranz for the rope. Tirgama Achevel. Says the Gemara, if a chicken eats a rope, that's Mashana. That's only a chatzi nezik. V'chevel meshunu. Says the Gemara, the Mois Belisha, it had cookie dough on it. So it's not unusual. Says the Gemara, but here it says that he's chai for the bucket, not for the rope. V'nishbar delikatani. Says the Gemara, it's still no raya. It's going according to Sumchus that says that secondary damage is a nezik shalom. El Sumchus he damet service nezik shalom mishalom. And therefore, it's not a proof yet that we go basamei kara. Now, the Gemara will continue over here, but I can't go too far, because then we'll have nothing to do tomorrow night. And Rich looks very disturbed for that. He needs to get his money's worth. So we'll pause over here for tomorrow night. But our evening is young, very young, as now we have a zaftige Mishnah Yomis, and then after the Mishnah Yomis, we have a zaftige Chayk.